Hello there, welcome to another episode of Penpositive. This is Vinod Narayan. Today I have with me Sirajuddin, who is the co-founder of Temenos+Agility. And we're going to talk about agility and how things are changing for all of us and how we are adapting to it. We're talking about career, we're talking about safe, we're talking about agility in general. If you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, and share, and let us get into the conversation. Thank you. Hey Siraj, how are you?
Hi. Good. How are you, Vinod?
Good, good. So, what we'll do is that at least to give our viewers an idea of who you are and why we are
Yeah.
talking. So, so just for people to know, Siraj is the person who taught me safe. That might be where I can start because when
Yeah.
I got safe certified, so the trainer
Yeah.
was Siraj, and that was recent. But you've been for 30 years. You've been coaching and consulting process people and everything on a range of domain and technology. I think with Siemens, Capital One, Freddie Mac, Shotel. There's a line of companies that you worked with, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And now you are the co-founder of Temenos, and we'll get into
Yeah.
a bit more detail of what you do over there, what your vision is, and everything.
Sure.
Um, but I think where I want to really start is you've been practicing Agile for quite a long time. So, do you still remember when you first heard Agile? Did it give a
Oh, yeah.
wow feeling for you, or did it, like many people, like you had that rejection and then kind of slowly it started? What was that?
Actually, the company I used to work for, this is 2005 November, by the way, uh, they said, we've heard of this interesting practice called Scrum. And one of the interesting practices is they meet every day in the morning called a daily stand up. And what our company decided is we'll meet every day in the morning, but we will all sit down and it will be a breakfast meeting. So all of us came and it was great. First of all, we were all friends, and then there was food, breakfast food, and there was, good conversation and status meetings and things like that. That's when I first heard it. Yeah, 2005 November.
And was it a wow feeling? That thing? Did you know that it was dramatically going to change the way you work? No.
Only thing I remember is food coma. We had like great breakfast food, a lot of fun, really good. But the company who we were copying it from, they were featured on a magazine called Information Week, as if this is the biggest thing going on in that field of finance industry at that time. And they were rising. They were rising at that time, so 2005. Now, I think they are one of the best finance companies in the world.
Yeah. So you started it 4 years after the others met at the ski resort, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Probably, and that's pretty early with a lot of people who have adopted Agile. I think because I
yeah.
heard about it sometime in 2008 when one of my friend got
Mm,
a Scrum certification, and he came in and this whole excitement when you do that, right? And then I used to have this conversation. I'll say no, it's not going to work out, and
yeah,
then finally he gets angry and walks away because
yeah,
that whole conversation of the traditional mindset and the agile
yeah,
mindset.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
when we look at the career of people, and I look at it in two ways. One is
Mm,
you have a career as an agile practitioner, would be a scrum master, coach, product owner, someone like that. And then
mm,
you would also be someone working in an organization, not an agile practitioner, but you are put into this agile environment, or you're there's two kind of people, right? One said no, yes, I am agile and
yeah,
I am going to be part of this, and
yeah,
other people no, they're not part of this whole thing, but they have to be agile. So how do you,
yeah.
is that differentiation even right, and how do you look at these two people and how they adapt into agile?
I think that's a great differentiation, actually. When I reflect upon where I was in 2005, I think very good differentiation. And when I look at what is happening now, it's a very good differentiation. Okay. And I would say the increase of people who are voluntarily opting and choosing to go to Agile has surprised me. In 2005, I, for one, did not think it will grow as fast and as dominant as it has now. On the other hand, people who are what you're saying is they're accidentally coming into this or they're being pushed into it, that proportion again has dropped down tremendously, in my opinion, but it's still there. And between these two groups, what I'm able to see over 15 years is how human beings are always choosing to learn and grow and become better. And given an option, I think they will choose what is good for them, for their career, and for their companies.
Okay. And how would, for a person who is not looking at an agile career, but uh, for them also the knowledge of how an agile enterprise work is very, very important
Hmm.
at any level they are, right? Because the
Yeah.
changes and the way response to that changes happens is something they need to know. So even if you're not looking at a career in agile,
Yeah.
how do you go about trying to understand that?
I'll have two or three types of responses to that. One is, like based on people I'm meeting, there's a population that is retiring. Okay. For them, if the retirement period away is maybe a couple of years and they can just ride it out, that's up to them. So then they don't need to go through the difficulty of the learning curve. The second is people who are being forced, you know, here you have a choice, is what I would say. Maybe uh, if you want to do it, if you have the energy, if you have the talent and the desire to learn, it is a significant learning curve. And then the third one, which is, I would say, the most luckiest population, is what I call as the specialists. That means you are a deep subject matter expert in your area, and the people who are doing work or your company needs you, right? So basically, you are an island in that ocean, right? So no one can disturb you. So those are the three options that I can think of. You know,
Okay. And if you look at the retirement population,
yeah,
that is,
yeah,
they're thinking that agile is only from a corporate and work perspective, but
correct,
there's a lot of agile aspect that comes
yeah,
even after retirement and what you want to do and everything, that whole
absolutely,
thinking, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about us, we were in a 4-day class before the pandemic, but we are still good friends now, and we have plans to do things together. It's
Right.
because this kind of an atmosphere creates a lot of personal and social connections. Work is definitely there on one side, but because it has so much of personal and social implication, it does impact you personally.
Right, because we look at a problem and we kind of, instead of fighting over a problem, we try to
Yeah,
understand it from different perspectives and kind of come up
correct,
with a solution for it.
correct. Yeah,
It's good.
yeah,
So I was going through your LinkedIn, so I was just looking at that the description: hope, courage, leadership, love. Nothing else. I
yeah,
mean, no
yeah,
safe,
yeah,
no
yeah.
scrum, nothing.
No,
What is
no.
that been there for quite a long time, or
I started this after the pandemic when everything was shut down. I was actually in India at that time, as I was telling you yesterday, and um, I was under a lockdown period, and I realized that this is going to be for a long time. And then there were so many instances and literally bad news about people getting laid off, losing their jobs, losing their insurance, healthcare. And as you might know, in India, for instance, several lakh migrant population had to walk for weeks to get to their home because one, there was no job in the main cities for them. There was no transportation to go to their home, which was like thousands of kilometers away. And so the response that came to me was, can I present a hopeful space for people who come to my profile or people who see my image. And I wanted to make sure that, first of all, what I want to do was, they say, the first learning you get as a doctor or a healer or a coach is do no harm. That's the first one. Then, if you can do anything better, that's good. So, if I write something or if I post something or if someone comes to my site, you know, there should be a message of hope and positivity. That was my opinion. So that's why I used hope first. Second, after that, is that there has to be an activation of a sense of bravery in this situation. It's not an easy situation, and it's going to call a depth of bravery within all of us. And we have it, you know, but we need to activate it. And if we are used to, let's say, 10 points of bravery, this is going to require maybe a little bit more. I'd say 50% more or something like that. So, second is courage. Third is leadership, because I feel that every one of us is a leader and we need to show small acts of leadership so that we do our part, you do your part, like your podcasts or your pen positive YouTube. That's your act of leadership for all of us in the community. And then lastly, love, because I think that the situation we are in is asking us to exhibit a very delicate and gentle affection to everyone, regardless of country, race, color, sex, or any kind of an affiliation. So that's why I wanted to put all those: hope, courage, leadership, and love. It's not about agile or safe. I don't think it is.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that's important because many times people come to LinkedIn also, and to a great extent, a lot of people come to LinkedIn to really look at what happens. And I see a lot of posts of people saying that I got laid off, I'm here. Can you share this? And that conversation is, everyone understands that we're all in the same boat, and then need to help each other and going
Yeah.
on that. And I think that, and even probably people using LinkedIn has increased over the past few months for learning and
Hmm.
any other aspects.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what, today you had shared about Science of Change, that program, right? And I'm
Yes.
a bit into watching that.
Yeah.
So change is a very, very interesting thing, and I always tell people after, and that whole concept came up when I did that training, and I read The Leading Change by John Carter. This whole concept that we've been managing change for a quite long time, and we have to start leading change, right? On a For the agile practitioners, do you see a change happening in their working? Because um,
Yeah.
we are used to working face to face. The
Yeah.
remote scrumming stuff was there for a lot of people working with remote teams.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what is the change of the change leaders or agile people, during this pandemic and going forward?
Yeah. I think that the first change I'm noticing is an increased level of sensitivity to yourself, your surrounding, which includes your family around your house, and the other person. For example, when I'm talking to you or when I'm working with you, I'm sensitive to myself, my surrounding, my family here, and I'm sensitive to you and your family here. And I'm going to do my best to make it easy for you to work and be successful. And you're going to do the same to me. And now, if our team is increasing, and let's say it's going geographical and across multiple time zones, our sense of consciousness and awareness has to increase dramatically. And so the whole agile sort of software engineering method is transforming, in my opinion, to a future of work movement. It's merging into something larger. For example, you know very well that in the last few months, two or three movements have sort of come together. Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter movement, right? And then now remote work, right? So all this is merging into the future of work. In fact, when work is coming into your home, like I'm in my home, I imagine you're in your home.
Yep.
Now it's actually future of life itself,
Right.
right? Our work has come into our homes, and our homes are actually part of the whole family. So now Agile has to grow up, and we have to respect the contributions of everybody. Okay. For example, you said, I taught you safe, but I would tell you in reverse that in the way you approach the class and the exercises, which what I call as a beginner's mind, you taught me how to teach safe, right? So we are going to have to grow up and become much more respectful of the innate contributions of everybody. And by innate, what I mean is something that cannot be taught. It's in you, right? What is your contribution that you're going to bring in to our world as a beginner and with me as an agile expert? It's going to meld. It's all going to meld. And we are going to have to bring everything together and make sense of everything. That to me is how agile is growing up.
Right. And I
Now
think that's
agile is
a
about 20 years old, so it's
right.
definitely
It,
growing up.
yeah, and it's not a new thing anymore. Though
Yeah,
think, but it is changing. It's transformed. What agile is and how it is practiced now. If you had seen the same thing 20 years back, it would have looked entirely different as well, right?
yeah, yeah. Like 15 years ago in 2005 November, when we were applying it, it was just a small technique for us to become better software development teams. That's it. That's all it was. No one thought about it as a way to work with other colleagues. We had other things for that.
Yeah. And one interesting point that you brought is that innate thing, right? So on
Yeah,
12th, I was telling my wife, now I need to get up at 5 o'clock. I need to be on a call at 5 o'clock. So how do we plan it? Do I take it
yeah,
from here? The lights are going to be on. Should I go somewhere else and then move in? So everything associated with work is also a common discussion that happens to make sure that
correct.
everyone, because everyone is on call with their classes and work
Ah,
and
yes. Yeah,
and talking, don't be so loud, there are other people in the house. Right, we never
yeah,
thought about all these things before.
yeah, yeah.
And I think that's a big learning for a lot of us when we start looking at it, and that's going to be the
Mm,
future.
mm.
So I've got two more things. One is, I'm just I always tell, and I talk to my kids also, that as teenagers you need to start having that agile thinking, just like critical thinking and creative thinking. And agile thinking is
Mm,
very important to
mm.
iteratively do things.
Yeah.
uh, look at that big picture, and at the same time be time boxing things, getting it into 1 week, what you can do 2 weeks. Don't
Hmm.
you think that agile thinking should be in some way or the other taught in high schools at that point, or maybe even before that?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. What you described as the iterative loop of small size work with a feedback loop based on, customer use, right? I think those basics are to me the new building blocks of thinking. I'll remove the word agile. I'll just call it thinking. Simple.
Hmm.
That's it. By adding the word agile, sometimes we are making it difficult for people to
Connect.
allow that kind of learning to come in. There's a
Hmm.
block.
Hmm.
Agile has got such a, you know, good and a bad reputation in the world. People think, oh, okay, no, I don't want that. So just call it thinking.
Hmm.
That's why in many companies, I really like it. They say ways of working.
Hmm.
This is our new way of working. That's it.
Right. Yeah. Now I want to talk about Temenos, and I mean not me
Yeah,
talking. I want you to uh,
yeah,
uh, because one is the safe training and everything, how we got connected. But I think you do more. There is more thinking involved in Temenos than just the training and coaching part, right?
yeah, yeah. So I'm just a bit curious. Are you talking about Temenos as an approach or
Temenos as
our
an
company Temenos?
company and approach, both from
Okay,
both their perspectives.
okay. Let me talk about the approach first and then see what questions you have, right? So Temenos is a Greek word. It means an island in the Greek mythology where the Greek gods would go to purify themselves and then come back to the main Greek island to become better gods. That's what it means. So now we are, sort of borrowing that metaphor to create our work as a group of people who are senior advisors and thought leaders who go and work with companies who want to reinvent themselves and leaders who want to reimagine what they want to do with their lives. That's the simplest sort of definition I can give you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that answers my question on what Temenos, how that.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
about the company, the
yeah,
organization that you have. So what do you do?
yeah.
And
Sure. Yeah, sure. So we are, 8 years old, and we offer uh, personal leadership and organizational transformation approaches. For organizational transformation approaches, as I was describing, we have Temenos. I just described that, and then we use the Scaled Agile framework or SAFe for people who are interested to adopt Agile at a scaling level. For personal, again, we use the Temenos approach for coaching, which is again helping you to understand your personal vision and then how to adopt personal agile techniques to actualize that vision. That's it.
so so it's both from an organization perspective and a
Yeah,
personal
yeah,
perspective. And you
yeah,
have
yeah,
regular safe training programs that you have as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And how has the remote training been compared to your?
Very good, actually. I love it. I'm able to be in one location, not travel weekly like I was doing earlier. Students love it. Again, there's no need to travel. They can take it from their homes. Now, some people, I would say, are not able to enjoy this approach. The remote doesn't work for them. The computer-based mechanism doesn't work for them, and for them, they'll have to wait until the pandemic is over and people offer face-to-face experiences. So until then, I would say it's the best that we have.
Right. And
Yeah,
we are using the tools to the fullest to try to
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
And you can never replace the smile and shake hand and
Face-to-face.
hug
Yeah, exactly,
in any way.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So we start living with what we have.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Good. I think that's pretty much I had. So what I want the
Great.
viewers is to, what I'm trying to do is getting people within the
Yeah,
industry, within the world, corporate world, so that people have an idea of what's
yeah,
happening around.
yeah.
And
Thank you.
yeah, thanks, Siraj. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was a conversation. So if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, and share if you think other people should listen to this conversation. And I will see you all in another episode. You take care. Thank you.